On today's Go, we welcome fall at the Squamish River. Welcome to this week's episode of Go. I'm your host, Vanessa Ybarra. Well, hard to believe we're already midway through September, but I guess it's true what they say. Time really does go faster the older you get. Or is it the busier? I don't know. I believe both. Here on Shaw TV, we too have been really busy the last few weeks. On today's show, we're heading up to Whistler, where we'll introduce you to a new brewery in town, and we'll also tell you about a sweet idea that folks up in Pemberton have come up with to ward off bears. You don't want to miss that. So let's get started. With the fall season now upon us, the theater season is in full swing here in Squamish, and we got an inside look recently at a new production about to hit the stage, and the name ain't short.
I brought you coffee, dearest Vanya.
I have some.
Oh, but I always bring you coffee.
Well, yes, but you weren't available.
Well, I was in the bathroom briefly. Could you not wait?
Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike tells the story of a classic family reunion with a few wacky twists thrown in.
Fine, here, you take this cup and give me that one.
All right. I feel better now.
Basically, I think you could picture a family reunion gone wrong. You get these two siblings that are sort of going through life, watching it sort of pass them by, and you introduce the sister that's paying for the house that they're in, include a wacky soothsaying voodoo house cleaning lady, and a starstruck next door neighbor, and you get this mashup of absurdity.
Oh my God! I see something imminent. It's gonna happen any moment. One of you is gonna take 2 cups and smash them on the floor.
The Tony Award-winning show weaves 3 of the plays by well-known Russian playwright Chekhov into one. Whether or not you've actually heard of his stuff, this adult-humored play is bound to have you laughing.
You will walk many miles to the poorhouse.
I've always been a fan of Chris Durang. He just writes some brilliant comedies. And I got about a page and a half into the script and I couldn't put it down. I was laughing out loud.
Is Spike the name you were given at birth?
No, it's my acting name. My real name was Vlad, but my agent said that was hard to hear, and I was wearing my hair all spiky that day, so he said, why don't you call yourself Spike? So I do.
Every character has a little bit of a different personality, so but you have to come and watch it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Boeing, and the patron saint of Stanley Park are just 2 of the over 50 productions Squamish's Between Shifts Theatre Society has been putting on throughout town since 1993.
For a little while there, it was sort of like this core group and you were seeing them in every show. Now we're getting new people just about every show, which is amazing.
What was your favorite role on stage?
My favorite role on stage? Well, I loved all the Ibsen I did, and Chekhov and the Shakespeare, and Google me when you get home.
The Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike script is known for its heavy amount of dialogue, not to mention curious props. Read-throughs of the comedy began back in July, with this group of fairly new to seasoned actors meeting twice a week ever since to perfect their roles.
We're starting our first full run, which is really exciting. We'll get the pace of the show tonight.
Spike is a very gifted actor. He was almost cast in the sequel to Entourage, Entourage 2.
For Todd, playing Masha's boy toy boyfriend Spike, who is shirtless for 90% of the play, has been a liberating experience.
During the play, there is a reverse striptease. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, and I definitely had to practice that.
Well, first I have to take my shoes off so I can put my pants back on.
What I love most about acting is getting to play other people, looking into other people's lives.
A central figure of the around 90-minute show is semi-bipolar Sonia, played by Between Shifts founder and longtime local actor Kathy Daniels.
What is the matter with you?
Do I have to do everything?
But you offered to do it. Are you bipolar now?
Yes.
Sonia is a middle-aged woman who has lived in isolation. She feels that her life has not happened. And something happens during this period of time that the audience gets to see.
Bickering siblings, a possessed housekeeper, and a guy with his shirt off, all stuck in the same house? It's the stuff comedy gold is made of.
We all need a laugh in this day and age, and I think you're going to have a lot of laughs in this show. This play has been a treat because the cast is really quite talented and they bring a lot to the table.
The Squamish show runs October 6th to 8th and 12th to 15th at the Eagle Eye Theatre. To buy tickets, go online or visit Billy's Flower House downtown.
Just not now since I intended do.
Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike won a Tony Award for Best Play in 2013, as now seen in regional theaters all across the globe. So check it out again early October. All right, well, moving along here, over 60 breweries and hundreds of people recently came out for the Whistler Mountain Beer Festival, which only confirms one thing: we love our beer here along the Sea to Sky corridor. Well, hang on to your hats, because turns out a new brewery has recently opened up in Function Junction. So what exactly goes into opening up a brewery? What are the joys and what are the struggles? Well, we recently stopped by to find out. Most people like beer, but Angie and Kevin Winters really like beer.
Oh, that's tasty beer.
Yum. With the emerging craft beer market, the possibilities with beer have just become endless. So now it's not just a social thing, it's let's go taste.
I love the flavors, I love the conversation of it, and it's fun. Who doesn't have a good time when they drink a beer?
The Whistler couple homebrewed beers for years. In 2009, they decided to take their love of ales and IPAs to a whole new level.
It was one of those dreams that at the beginning you were like, wouldn't it be so cool to do this? And then it came back around to, hey, you know what? We can actually do this.
This being starting up their own brewery. This past August, they did just that, opening up Coast Mountain Brewing in Function Junction. From the outside, it's the fairy tale story of a couple reaching their dreams. But like any dream, this too took years of hard work.
The main thing that I found needed was just more exposure in the industry. I grew up with a wrench in my hand. Inside here we're combining grain, malted barley, and water.
Kevin's journey to brewmaster began working in Whistler and Fraser Valley breweries.
I had to see different breweries and how they operated and meet those vendors.
A few years later, he enrolled in the World Brewing Academy program in Chicago, where he learned the concise science and technology of beer making.
Engineering, the chemistry aspect, all of that's very important when you're brewing beer. There's so many variables. We're making our Fire Steel Red Ale. There's different rests to bring on the enzymes that are the catalyst for change from starch to sugar. And we're denaturing those enzymes right now at 76 degrees Celsius. Little tool is called a refractometer, and we're going to get ourselves a little sugar test. So we simply just drip over our sample, close the slide. We have a little look inside.
While hubby was busy in the lab, Angie was paying bills.
At one point I did have 3 jobs. Definitely was trying to kind of hold up the living end of our life.
Between a custom fabricated brewing system, over 200 kegs, not to mention
Screws, hoses, tools that you don't have.
the costs of starting up a brewery are overwhelming. Lucky for them, family, friends, and even strangers were quick to step up.
Almost every single one of them have provided something to the business above and beyond a financial aspect. They've given us advice, they've given us contacts, they've provided manual labor, they've helped build this place.
If there's one thing the Winters knew from the beginning, it's they wanted to create a cozy, West Coast-inspired tasting room where customers come as strangers and leave as friends.
It's a community-based space where we'd really like people to just kind of hang out. 99% of the wood that you see in our room is reclaimed. It's either come down in windstorms, as our bar top was. Our walls are a gentleman's deck from Kitsilano. This is our communal bench. They took cedar and hemlock from a bunch of different trees and created this beautiful, one-of-a-kind piece.
These days, they may spend as much time cleaning as they do making beer, but for Angie and Kevin, it's a life they wouldn't have any other way.
Even though there's not a lot of sleep in the beginning, it's so overwhelmingly gratifying with the response from the community. People are loving the beer, they love the space. It kind of keeps you going.
At the end of the day, we get to raise a pint together, and it's something that you've made and crafted, and there's nothing better gratifying than that.
Stick around, because after the break,
I loved paint until I discovered fabric, and then it was like, okay, for me it just clicked.
we meet the artists bringing new life and color to Squamish. Welcome back to Go, coming to you this week from the Brackendale Eagle Run here in Squamish. Well, while summer has come and gone, it's quite sad to say goodbye to bathing suits and all that. There is so much to look forward to for the fall season. You get to wear your cozy sweaters and scarves, you get to switch from drinking lagers to nice creamy stouts, and you don't feel guilty binge watching all your favorite TV shows. Am I right? Well, if you're also looking to take an art lesson or two this fall season, you'll want to watch this next story. Sarah Symes prides herself on being a truly one-of-a-kind artist. From sea-to-sky landscapes, Venetian cities, and more, there isn't much the Squamish artist can't do. As we find out, even the district is taking notice.
I loved paint until I discovered fabric, and then it was like, okay, for me it just clicked. Fabric's wonderful because you can put down a lot of color very quickly.
Sarah Symes has been an abstract fabric artist for over 10 years.
With the rise of the internet, I've met more and more people that do something similar, but I'm entirely self-taught, so nobody does it quite like me.
Her work starts with an idea.
I get an idea of the composition I want, then I iron the fabric and cut it up into pieces.
Those pieces slowly coming to life.
I pin first before I sew, just to work out what I like, and I'm always thinking about like a certain landscape, a certain location.
It was while living and working as a video game graphic design artist in Los Angeles that the traveler became inspired to pursue her other passion full-time.
The scene is so bohemian and laid back, and it's just a perfect opportunity for an artist to get a start. I started off doing beach landscapes.
Then came cities.
So this piece is called Venezia, and it was inspired by my time in Venice, Italy. We've got the water, the canal, all the busy people.
Then in 2014, Sarah and her husband moved to Squamish to live the mountain lifestyle. In no time, her home's backdrop became her next muse.
The landscape's phenomenal. Like, it's not just like, oh, that's pretty. It kind of knocks you in the face. There's no shortage of inspiration. This is one of my sea-to-sky landscapes, and it's really exploring the relationship between the sea and the sky.
Earlier this year, the district put a call out for the Squamish Street Banner Project.
Now that we have a public art committee, we actually went through a public art call, so we got artists to submit their ideas, their drawings.
This now West Coast artist signing up instantly.
I thought about it for 5 minutes and I thought, yeah, I have an idea.
Sarah put pencil to paper as fast as she could. She then dusted off her graphic design skills to create a large-scale digital version of her sketch.
This is one of the pieces that I submitted. This one's inspired by the Squamish River, the view that you get from the watershed.
Her other entries included this one of the iconic Chief and Squamish's How Sound. Little did she know, all three would become winning submissions that are now proudly hanging in Garibaldi Estates, Brennan Park, and downtown Squamish.
We got a lot of submissions, probably 20 or so. This particular artist, it really stood out. They were simple, they were vibrant, they almost looked like stained glass windows. And I think the committee was unanimous in their decision and thought this is really a really beautiful representation that we can put on our streets.
I was surprised. I'm a relative newcomer, I've only been here a couple of years, and I was just so happy.
Sarah then turned around and used almost all the prize money she won to create small print versions of the banners. They're now sold in a couple stores around town.
The tourists that are coming down the street, they see it on the street posts, so she's done really well here so far.
It's safe to say this now half digital, half fabric artist is busier than ever before, but it's a job she chose, and it's a craft she's proud to call her own.
It's amazing. It's a dream come true to do this and be paid to do it. But I do work really hard. I'm just really grateful for the opportunity.
If you'd like to get a special up-close look at some of Sarah's work, she has a special show going on the entire month of February at the Squamish Public Library. So good for you, Sarah. And also, if you'd like to learn more about her story, check out some of her pieces right now, all that good stuff, visit sarahsymes.com. Well, switching gears in the show once again from art to Aboriginal history. If you're looking for a truly unique and powerful lesson on the Squamish First Nation, look no further than the Talking Trees tour at Alice Lake. We recently tagged along on one of their tours for a special inside look at the way life once was, and in many cases continues to be for First Nation members. This is a place Deanna Lewis knows best.
Alice Lake has been our home for over 12,000 years. And so we have a deep embedded culture here.
While some kids grow up in front of a TV, this now provincial park was Deanna's entertainment and life source.
Squamish, we're known as medicine people here. And so we really utilize the land. We use everything. Everyone in our families have a role they play with their family community. And one of our roles was to learn about our plants and everything in our surrounding area. Good day to you all. My ancestral name is Cockalaith. It's on my manatsa as well.
As a Squamish Nation ambassador for Most for Life, this year Deanna was inspired to branch out and share her people's stories and secrets of this land with her greater community in what's known as a Talking Trees Tour.
We wanted to be able to share with everyone what's in our backyards. And if we know what's in our backyards, we'll take care of it.
Emash Uknasiaya. Good morning, my ancestral name is Hatsametsa.
Partnering with Deanna is friend and Seashell Nation member Candace Campo. This year marks the 14th year the women have been leading cultural tours on Vancouver Island, Vancouver, and now Squamish.
I love oral history, so teaching visitors and even our fellow community members about the history of First Nations people and how we utilized our environment is extremely important to me.
After warm greeting and traditional song, today's group of locals is led to a deserted longhouse that Squamish Nation members once lived in for months at a time.
This one's actually like a chief's house. It has a slanted roof on there. Others were just flat, and so you'd know what family it came from.
Cedar homes such as Deanna's stretching up to 3 football fields long and housing over 600 close family members.
I always tell people in our nation, like, do you know your family tree? And and they want to date people and things. I say, we live in the same longhouse.
A large portion of the hour-and-a-half walk zeroes in on the natural remedies hidden within this forest. For Aboriginal people, moss, leaves, and even cedar dirt is and always will be nature's pharmacy.
Licorice root. You can see the little ferns. It's actually the root of them, and it actually tastes like licorice. It is also really good for stomach ailments and sore throats. That's the Devil's Club right here. We make arthritis cream. They boil it up, and in the root, the marrow inside the stem is what they get, and it's like this foam, and they mix it together with beeswax and stuff like that. So we use moss for diapering our children. We use it in surgery as like a sponge, and it cleans the wounded areas and stuff, and it's a great absorbent for things.
These towering cedar trees also harboring endless uses.
We use every part of the cedar tree, even the inner bark of the trees for making cedar hats, cedar capes. Every morning at 5 in the morning, we'd greet the day. We'd walk into this glacier cold water, and we would parade in the water, and we'd be brushing ourselves off with the cedar boughs.
It's clear the stories of families such as Deanna's and Candace's run as deep as these roots themselves. As special as it is to reminisce traditions, the best part for these guides is having open ears to listen.
I really believe people's interest in First Nations history is growing exponentially, and we're in a new beginning. Some people refer to it as reconciliation, but in general, it's a great time to be involved in tourism because there is such a really good interest in Aboriginal people in general.
Everything has a story and a meaning. A lot of people around the world don't know where they come from. They might know 2 or 3 generations. It's a huge meaning to know like who you are and where you come from.
The Talking Trees Tour runs until the end of October, so if you'd like to sign up, just visit the link on the bottom of the screen. And thanks once again to the tour guides for having us out. All right, while your chances of running into a bear in Alice Lake are pretty slim, up in Pemberton turns out they've had quite the issue of bears feeding off of crabapple trees in town. But as we recently found out, thanks to one woman's sweet idea, that problem is no more.
I make applesauce for a good solid couple of weeks in the fall when our apples from our tree are ready. Our kids love it.
From applesauce to apple liqueur, you don't have to look far to see delicious, homegrown goodness in Don Johnson's kitchen.
My mother was very self-sustainable with their land, so we grew up this way, and it's a great thing for us to be able to pass on to our kids as well.
5 years ago, Dawn and the rest of the staff of the Stewardship Pemberton Society was tasked with finding a way to reduce the number of bears feeding off the city's crabapple trees. Turns out the answer was right under her nose in what soon became the Crabapple Project.
The project actually started off with our nature camp kids. We would harvest the crab apples and bring them at the time back to my home kitchen. This is the crabapple jelly that we make, and this is the crabapple sauce, which is a little bit more tart than your traditional applesauce.
This year, dozens of society members and kids came out to the Pemberton Community Center to help turn the luring bear treats into delicious jams and sauces.
These kids are involved from picking the apples. They have a turn at, cranking the food mill and seeing the sauce come out the other side.
The products are then sold at the farmers market, with all proceeds going towards reducing human-bear conflict and other community programs. But it doesn't stop there.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Good.
Plum tree's right over there.
Okay, awesome. Great, thanks.
No worries.
The mother of two also helped start up the Pemberton Fruit Tree Project this year, where she and volunteers pick homeowners' pear or any other kind of fruit tree for free. On top of warding off hungry bears,
a third of the food that's picked goes to the food bank, a third goes to the homeowner, and then another third goes to the volunteers that come out.
It's something that's really close to my heart, and there are people that can always use a little bit of a hand, and it's good to see that food go to places where it just helps out in a whole bunch of different ways.
Finally, just down the road is a community garden the nonprofit group has been running for 2 years, where all of the harvest goes towards the food bank and a local women's pregnancy program.
Planted with love and picked with love. Currently myself, I'm on a permanent disability, so I also have a very limited income, and I understand the struggles people have trying to find nutritious food at the prices that we have to pay in the grocery stores here. To take the produce from the garden and help people that needed help was, yes, really appealing to me. Do you think maybe you could carry that down for me?
Sure.
Thank you.
Not all people are as privileged as some other people, so it's always good to help benefit people. It's a good way to help spread joy around the community.
Whether it's through squash, plums, or her almighty applesauce, the ways to help those less fortunate has proven to be endless for Dawn and the rest of the society, a humble reminder of the power of food.
In the Pemberton Valley, there's endless opportunity really to be more food sustainable and to have more food justice, they like to say. We just really have opportunities to support those in need.
Dawn was so sweet after that shoot to give me, Emma, cameraman Ian, some of her applesauce to take home, and gotta say, delicious. Just the right amount of tartness, so thanks again, Dawn, for those treats. All right, well, that wraps up our show here on Go. Thank you so much for joining us. And just a reminder, here at Shaw, we're always offering a workshop and volunteer opportunities for hosting. Also, if you want to learn how to work a camera, edit, voice, anything broadcasting related, we're here to help. So if you'd like to learn more about how you can sign up for that, just get a taste of everything, you can email us at seatosky@sjrb.ca. Until next time, I'm Vanessa Ybarra.